guys, it's your girl T. So I want to come on here and do another recap of Love and Hip Hop Hollywood episode 3. So I've been real busy this week. I've been on set and meetings. I have a lot of big things coming up on my channel, and I just want you guys to stay tuned and, you know what I'm saying, support everything I do. But I got a lot of really good things coming up down the pipeline, so I've been just extremely busy, but I've been trying to keep up with these recaps. And, you know, Empire started last night, and people are asking me to recap that as well, and I will be doing that after this. So I ended up watching Love and Hip Hop Hollywood on DVR yesterday, and honey, it was so much fuckery. I couldn't wait to get on camera and sip some tea with y'all. So anyways, let's go ahead and get this discussion popping, honey. Make sure you have your teacups because it is time to sip away. So much mess went down when I was watching Love and Hip Hop Hollywood. Damn, this tea's good. Let's go ahead and start sipping. So in the opening scene of Love and Hip Hop Hollywood, we have everybody's favorite little brother, Ray J, and he's meeting with a girl named Brandy. And initially I'm thinking it's Brandy, his sister, but it ends up being some little pint-sized Brandy. And she comes up there, she has like this huge attitude, this really loud voice, and she's just over the top, and her claim to fame is basically she's Whitney Houston's goddaughter. Personally, I've never really heard of this girl, and I've never really seen her before, but I guess, you know, she's Whitney Houston's goddaughter, so that means something to all of us. But she's also married to super producer Max Lux. Once again, I've never heard of this producer. Only on Love and Hip Hop is everybody a super producer in LA or in Atlanta or in New York, but yet and still none of us have ever heard of any of these people until they came onto this reality TV show. So basically, this chick Brandy is one of the most insecure women I've ever seen in my life. I didn't even know women could be this insecure. This chick is upset about everything. You know, she says that her man is always cheating on her. She has no problem, you know, following him around, bugging his devices. I mean, it's just insane. So basically, Ray J invites her to come and give him advice on the whole Teairra and Princess situation. And she feels like, you know what, Ray J and Princess both need to fall back from Teairra because Teairra is known to go from 0 to 100 real quick. And she doesn't understand why Princess would be hanging out with Teairra in the first place. And then Ray J accidentally lets it slip that he's going to be going to the studio with her husband to perform some new tracks. Automatically, her guard is up. She's kind of upset. You can tell that even though she loves Ray J and she considers Ray J a brother, she knows that Ray J is trifling as hell, and he's known for bringing side chicks to the studio. So right now, she's not happy about this at all. Moving on to the next scene. So in the next scene, we have Hazel E and Teairra Marie. They're deciding to meet up with each other at this restaurant and basically bury the hatchet. Hazel E wants Teairra to admit that she basically gave Youngberg head, and Teairra is saying that she did not give Youngberg head and that she would never sleep with somebody in an alleyway with, you know, sticks and stones and glass and everything else. Hazel E does not believe anything that Teairra Marie is saying, but she also feeling like, you know what, it's still a big step for Teairra Marie to admit that she was wrong for even going to Youngberg as a friend and looking to Youngberg to help her with anything, because that was her best friend's man at the time, that she shouldn't have went there. So she's appreciative that Teairra Marie was at least honest about her mistake in that part of the situation. And she's also appreciative that Teairra Marie also called her when her grandfather died. To me, I don't see the relationship ever being back genuine again. I believe that they're always going to have that animosity between each other because of everything that went down last season and how bad Teairra Marie cussed her out and disrespected her. Teairra Marie said a lot of shady things about Hazel E. I don't see how Hazel E can just go back to forgiving her and letting all that go. Moving on to the next scene. So in the next scene, we have Soulja Boy, and he's shooting this music video, and it's called Whipping My Wrist. And I'm sitting here like, really? So you're just basically gonna bite off a Cheddar to Connect? You know what I'm saying? We all know he has that song, Flick of the Wrist. This whole Whipping My Wrist Soulja Boy song sounds just like Flick of the Wrist by Cheddar to Connect. So I'm like, Soulja Boy needs to become more original and come up with his own tracks and stop trying to bite off of everybody else online. I wasn't feeling his song at all, but while he's there, Nas decides to show up and crash his video shoot. So now Soulja Boy's really upset because he feels like, you know what, you're a jump off, you know, you're somebody that I mess with on the side, why are you here? And Nas feels like, you know what, you're doing too much, you're not being honest with me. Nia came with a bunch of girls to confront me about some BS. Obviously, you're telling her one thing and you're telling me one thing. And Soulja Boy's looking at her like, you know what, it doesn't matter, we slept together, you know, what is the big deal? You know, Nia's my main one. Basically letting Nas know that Nia's his main girl and that, you know, he's gonna keep doing him, but he's not necessarily gonna leave Nia. And Nas is upset. She's like, you know, I apologize for anything. I just want us to work out. I want you to be honest with me. And I'm sitting here looking like, how low is this girl's self-esteem that you're begging a man who does not want to be with you, who's content with sleeping with you, because she clearly says that when they're sleeping together, he's calling her name and he's in her face. Well, yeah, he's on top of you. Of course he's gonna be in your face and screaming out your name and all that bullshit, but it's what he does when you guys are not in the bedroom sleeping together that counts. You know, it makes no sense that she thinks that her sleeping with Soulja Boy equates something more than a sexual relationship. And Soulja Boy is basically telling her, all you are a one night stand, you're a jump off. You know what I'm saying? I just come through and I have sex with you when, you know, basically Nia's not around. And you were cool with that at first, but now you're trying to make it more than what it should be. This is why girls need to realize that once you get into the role of the side piece, you need to learn your position. When you're a side piece, it's strictly about sex, maybe some gifts, maybe some money, but nobody's trying to wife you or bring you home to their family or make you their main girl. You're just a side piece, and this is where Nas has everything misconstrued. This girl has some serious low self-esteem. I think that she needs to let Soulja Boy go and move the hell on. Moving on to the next scene. So in the next scene, we have Little Fizz, and Little Fizz is obviously loving the single life a bit too much. I feel like Little Fizz is getting on my nerves this season. You know, he's trying to act like he's this big player, this big pimp. You know, I got all these appetizers and I got all these girls to choose from, but not one time have we seen Little Drew at all. Now, last season, he was trying to be the family man, and, you know, he was a single father, and he was living with his mom and, you know, trying to get his own place, and he really wanted Amanda, the girl that he was messing with last season, to be the mother of his son. But now the son, everything he's talking about this season totally contradicts the Little Fizz that we knew last season. So I'm not really feeling him. I'm not really feeling how he's coming off. He's going to go meet up with one of the girls that he's messing with, and her name is Kamaya. And Kamaya is a really pretty girl. She's a model. She's doing her thing in the industry. And basically, it seems like Little Fizz is telling Kamaya one thing, and Kamaya is seeing it another way, but there's a whole bunch of miscommunication in the works. Basically, he's going to go meet up with Kamaya to get his key back because he allowed Kamaya to go stay at his house while he was out of town. He also admits that he introduced Kamaya to his mother and to his son. So to me, it seems like this is more of a serious relationship, being that you're involving children and you're involving your mother. But for some reason, Little Fizz is not seeing it as something serious. He's just looking at it as the next step, but not really looking at Kamaya as his main girl. So I see like there's a lot of mixed signals going on in their communication and their so-called relationship. They really need to sit down and work out, because somebody's gonna walk away with some hurt feelings. Moving on to the next scene. So in the next scene, we have Brandy, and she's announcing proudly that she's not a girlfriend, she's not a baby mama, she's not a thot. She is a wife, and Max Lux is her husband, and she would do anything to keep her man. You know what I'm saying? She would jump in his car, she will hide in his trunk, she's been known to bug his phone. This woman literally makes Moniece seem sane. This Brandy chick is crazy as hell. How she still has a husband is beyond me. My thing is, if you're that insecure about your man that you can't trust him, if your man is that much of a cheater, you need to let him go. I refuse to have a type of headache where I have to have my man call me every 4 hours just to feel secure about myself, just to feel like he's not cheating. If it's that serious and they shouldn't even be in a relationship together, they just need to go ahead and call it quits. To me, Brandy comes off as having very low self-esteem, being very, very insecure, and trying to basically control the relationship, and she's going to end up ruining her marriage if she continues this pattern of behavior. Lux is basically not having it. He's trying to do him. He's saying that he didn't even have a curfew when he was 16. He didn't even have to check in with his mother every 4 hours, so he doesn't understand why his wife is trying to force him to check in. And then he's also saying that he supposedly forgot his ring, you know, that Brandy found, and that's why he didn't wear it. So Brandy wants to make sure that he takes his ring with him and that he calls her, and he basically ends up walking out the room while she's still questioning him, and she's just sitting there laying on the bed just looking crazy as hell. Moving on to the next scene. So the next scene, we have April and her friend Shonda from Chicago, and they're meeting up with Nia. And Nia's there to basically talk about the whole situation that went down at Nas's boot camp. And Nia's letting them know that initially her and Nas were friends down in Atlanta, and they had met Dre, and she was kicking it with Soulja Boy. And then during her breakup with Soulja Boy, that's when Nas crept up and got with him. Basically, April's trying to tell Nia that, you know, that's part of the territory. That's why you have to be careful what females you bring around your man. You know, everybody's trying to come up and be famous. And Nia's saying that she knows that, but she feels like she needs to meet up with Nas and basically get this situation handled because she's tired of it, and she's not gonna let anybody destroy her happiness and her love, and her mouth is all twisted and she's talking all hard and shit. And I'm like, somebody hand Nia a big tall glass to shut the fuck up. Nobody cares about your dry ass storyline with Soulja Boy. You and Nas are both thoughts, and y'all basically fighting over a guy who doesn't care about either one of you. He sleeps around on you and you're trying to defend his fuckery. He sleeps around on Nas and she's trying to defend his fuckery. So to me, once again, like I said before, these are two ratchet birds of the same feather. Moving on to the next scene. So in the next scene, we have Hazel E and Milan, and basically they're going shopping, and Hazel E is telling Milan about how she met up with Teairra, and they're basically gonna bury the hatchet. Milan doesn't trust Teairra as far as he can throw her, but he feels like, you know what, if Hazel E is cool with it, what can he say about the situation? All he can do is just fall back and sip tea. So now Milan is saying that he feels some type of way about Miles. He feels like maybe Miles is cheating on him because Miles is literally not returning his phone calls. He's acting funny, and then he also admits to using Hazel E as his beard when he first got into the industry, that he would take Hazel E to all these parties and act like Hazel E was his girlfriend, even though he was, gay and he was in the closet. So he kind of understands, Miles being apprehensive, but he also feels like, it's taking too long. It makes no sense. He needs to just come out now and tell everybody, that he's gay and that they're a couple, and he does not know how long he can sit and wait for Miles to become comfortable with this entire DL situation. Moving on to the next scene. So in the next scene, we have Little Fizz, and Little Fizz's little ass is sitting here trying to go off. He's mad because he feels like Kamaya has literally moved her entire apartment into his house. He's saying that she bought all her silverware, all her bowls, all her feminine products, all her clothes. He left her with 2 drawers and she literally took over his whole closet. He claims to be OCD. My thing is, Little Fizz just gets on my nerves this season. I wish he would stop smoking so much weed or popping so much mollies. He can barely keep his eyes open. He looks high as hell in every single damn scene. And then for him to try and act like he's such a pimp and such a player, it's like, I'm gonna need him to have several seats. Nobody was even checking for this dude before this show. And for his attitude to do a whole 160 in less than a year, to me makes no sense whatsoever. Once again, he has yet to mention his son or spend any quality time with his son, but he's steadily talking about females and being a player. And he's mad at Kamaya for moving everything into his house. But this is the same chick that you had no problem bringing her to go meet your mother and your son, so I don't understand what the big deal is. If he didn't want her to move in, he should have never gave her a key in the first place. She has her own place. She could have chilled at her place while he was out of town. So I feel like this is just for a storyline. The whole situation makes no sense. Why give somebody a key if you don't want them moving into your house? Moving on to the next scene. So in the next scene, we have Nas and Nia. And so Nia decides to meet up with Nas because she feels like, basically Nas has some explaining to do. Maybe she needs some closure, but she wants to get all of this information out in the open, and she wants Nas to get up out her business with her and Dre. Now, for the life of me, I don't understand why these two birds keep fighting over Soulja Boy, because this man is obviously faithful to neither one of them. And Nia even admits, even if Soulja Boy is fucking around with Nas on her, it doesn't matter because Nas will never be his main girl. And I'm sitting here like, is this broad listening to herself? You have a daughter. How are you content with a man? How are you content with this man disrespecting you and sleeping with not only your ex-best friend, but with other women? And you don't seem to have a problem with that as long as you're the main one. I mean, she acts like she's really winning a prize. What are you winning? You know what I'm saying? You're the main chick that Soulja Boy's banging. I don't think that that's much of a prize. So then they start getting up into it, and Nas puts Nia all the way on blast and lets Nia know that the reason why she chose to sleep with Soulja Boy is because Nia slept with 2 of her boyfriends, and the fact that she got with Soulja Boy 2 years after the fact, and that Nia's not being honest. So I'm glad that Nas put Nia in her place and that Nas put her on blast, because I never thought that Nia was innocent. Nia has come off like a thought since day one. So I never took Nia's plight seriously, and whatever else she's going through with Soulja Boy, I feel like this is just a storyline for her. So once again, they start arguing. Then Nia grabs a drink and she throws it at Nas, and they get the fight in. And then Nas is telling her, she's a bitch and cussing her out. And then Nia had the damn nerve to tell Nas to fix her teeth. When she said that, she had to clutch my invisible damn pearls. I said, oh, hell no. I know Nia ain't talking about no damn teeth, honey. She acts like she got a mouthful of just straight pearly whites. Her teeth in her jar are literally fist fighting for space, but you got the nerve to talk about Nas's grill? I'm gonna need Nia to look in the mirror before she ever tries to throw shots at somebody else's teeth, because people have been clowning Nia, her jaws, and her teeth from day one since she got on this show. So I found it real damn funny that Nia had the nerve to try and throw some damn shade at somebody else's lack of dental plan. I'm gonna need Nia to have several seats for trying to go at Nas's teeth when her damn teeth are not on point either. Moving on to the next scene. I'm telling y'all, these people are crazy as hell. Moving on to the next scene. So in the next scene, we have Miss Nikki Baby, aka the Kylie Red of Love and Hip Hop Hollywood, because Miss Nikki Baby has no storyline. She has no man. She has nothing else to do. But surprise, surprise, her and Brandy are supposedly lifelong friends. They've been friends for a long time. They've known each other forever. And that, Brandy's going to Nikki with her problems again with her man. Said Nikki's asking her what's wrong, and she's saying that the baby found the wedding ring on the floor, and Nikki ends up pulling out the ring. And Nikki's like, you know what? We have to do something about this. This is crazy. So they decide to devise a plan to basically ambush Max Lux and Ray J at the studio. And because Nikki has absolutely no storyline and she has no life, she has nothing else to do, or she's down to go with Brandy and go engage in all this fuckery. Moving on to the next scene. So the next scene, we have Milan, and basically Milan is waiting for Miles to come over. He's really upset because he's been calling him the past few days. He has not been answering. So Miles gets there and he automatically, just kind of has an attitude like he don't want to be there. And Milan is saying, you know what, I sense that there's something different with you. I feel like you're not really into me anymore. It seems like you always have an attitude. And Miles is like, you know what? No, I've just been busy and I was at the studio. And then Milan says, well, you couldn't have been at the studio because anytime you're at the studio, my credit card gets charged and there were no charges for studio time. So what's really going on? I feel like you're cheating on me. Then Miles proceeds to go off on him. And he's like, you know, I don't understand why you're accusing me of that. You know, I'm not cheating on you. I'm just doing my thing. I need my space. And Milan is saying, you know what? I'm tired of this DL lifestyle. I'm tired of you not claiming me in public. I'm tired of your friends not knowing about us being together. And Miles is once again coming up with an excuse saying that he's not comfortable yet. He doesn't want his family to know. And Milan is saying, you know what? I can have anybody over here. You know what I'm saying? I can have anybody here with me. And so Miles is like, you know what? Go on ahead and call somebody else, honey. I don't need to be over here. I can go do me. Then he proceeds to get up and walk out. But before he walks out, he has a cup of damn Kool-Aid and he throws it on the floor and he storms out. Now, you know what? Had that been my condo, I'd have chased that damn queen, smooth the hell up out that apartment and whooped his ass. What kind of shit is that? How you gonna just spill some damn juice all over somebody's nice ass carpet in their damn condo? You know, I just hate when guys act just so damn effeminate. I know females who wanna just throw a glass of Kool-Aid all over the floor like that on somebody's carpet. It's like, you know, he just has a lot of little issues. I refuse to believe that this man just found out that he was gay. This man has been gay for a long damn time. He's just extremely effeminate. Anybody who thinks that he's really on the DL and that, you know, people can't tell that he's gay, folks need to wake up. Matter of fact, some new tea spilled the other day from VH1Access.com. He hit me up and basically it's out now that Miles has been openly gay since high school. So this storyline is just totally fraudulent and I'm glad that I never believed this storyline from jump. I refuse to believe that this man is really on the DL. Moving on to the next scene. So in the next scene we have Fizz and Kamaya, and basically Fizz had just got done meeting with Omarion and Willie from day 26, and now he's gonna go meet up with Kamaya and basically talk to her. So they're going rock climbing, and then he proceeds to tell Kamaya, you know, I didn't appreciate you moving all your stuff into my house. And Kamaya's like, I didn't move everything into your house. What are you talking about? And then, you know, he starts using all these stupid ass metaphors about how, you know, she's an appetizer, but she could be a main course, but he's not ready for a main course. He's trying to sample all these appetizers. He's trying to do his thing. And Kamaya's like, you know what? I'm not an appetizer. Either we're going to be together, we're going to be in a monogamous relationship, or you can keep it moving. And I really like Kamaya for that because it's obvious that Kamaya has a little bit of self-respect for herself. I can't say she has a whole lot of self-respect because if she did, she wouldn't be on this show. But it's good that she does have some self-respect and she's not willing to beat Little Fizz's side piece like all these other chicks. I'm glad that she's not willing to let Little Fizz run all over her while he goes around town sampling all these little dishes. You know, I just find it disgusting that all these guys are so quick to sample here and sleep with this person as if STDs don't exist. You know, while you're sampling, are you strapping up? I mean, the whole situation to me is just crazy. So I'm glad she put her foot down and said that she refused to be an appetizer and she's not gonna allow Little Fizz to disrespect her. So then basically Little Fizz breaks up with her and says that she can come by his house and come get her stuff because he's not dealing with it, because right now he wants to be a single man, he wants to be a big old pimp, and he wants to do him. The thing is, there's obviously a communication issue because he's telling her one thing and then he's doing another. And I feel like Kamaya is going off of what he's telling her. I don't feel like she's making all this stuff up, because if she was just an appetizer, why would you introduce an appetizer to your son? Why would you not introduce your main girl to your son? So obviously if you're introducing her to your mother and to your son, she's more than just a side piece. She's more than just an appetizer. So I think Little Fizz is full of shit. He's just struggling to find a storyline because nobody's checking for him outside of Love and Hip Hop Hollywood. Moving on to the next scene. So in the last and final scene, Brandy and Nikki are playing Incognito. Basically, they have decided to run up on Max Lux at the studio. So Nikki buzzes the studio. She pretends that she left her charger up there, and they don't send anybody down to make sure that the coast is clear, to make sure that she's who she said she is. They just buzz her in. And I'm sitting here thinking like, okay, now what if this was some stick-up kids? What if this was somebody trying to break into your studio and come kill you or come harm you or come do something to you? Y'all just gonna let anybody just buzz and walk in? So I'm like, this is just crazy to me that these guys don't have enough common sense to make sure that it's really who they say is at the door. So anyways, Nikki and Brandy come up there, and Brandy comes barging into the room. She sees her husband, and some female has her arm on her husband's shoulder, and she starts going, "I'll get your motherfucking hands off my husband, bitch. You got me fucked up." And she's just flipping out. She looks ridiculous. She looks stupid as hell. And then her husband's like, and then she tells her husband, you know why they don't know that you're married? You know why they don't know that you have a wife? That's because you left your ring at home again. And so she starts flipping out. He's looking all stupid and dumbfounded. Ray J's looking stupid and dumbfounded. Miss Nikki Baby's sitting there cheesing. The jump offs are looking stupid and dumbfounded. This is the stupidest scene I've ever seen in my life. My thing is, once again, this woman is so insecure. If I was this guy, I would divorce her in a New York minute. I don't know how he's been able to put up with all this bullshit. People only do what you allow them to do. So if you're gonna allow somebody to constantly cheat on you and play you with other women and do him, that's why he keeps cheating on her, because he knows she's not going anywhere. She might hide in his trunk, she might pop off and be crazy, but he knows deep down inside her ass ain't going nowhere. That's why he continues to disrespect her. So to me, Brandy's a stupid ass broad, and I don't feel bad for her. That's why he keeps playing her, cheating on her, and doing him, because she has no respect for herself or for him. You know what I'm saying? So I just don't feel bad for her or this entire situation. This whole situation looked as scripted as hell. But once again, that was my recap for Love and Hip Hop Hollywood. Let me know what you guys thought about this week's episode. It was definitely crazy. Lots of drama, lots of tea, and lots of scripted bullshit. So let's go ahead and get the discussion popping. Go ahead and leave a comment. All right, deuces. Hey you guys, it's your girl T, and you can show me some love by watching, rating, and subscribing to my videos. Don't forget to share them, and also don't forget to follow me on social media. And if you get a chance, make sure you check out Lovelyti.com, where you can purchase a coffee mug or a t-shirt. Talk to y'all later. Deuces.